Mic checks echo, I'm the sound of the brawl. Canvas creaks, flesh slaps, bodies rise and fall. Steel cage dreams, no escape. All pain, blood stains mixed with the sweat and the chain. Adrenaline, surging my veins, spit fire. Crowd chants feeding my soul's desire. Turnbuckles tremble when my wrath collides. Glory's the belt and I'm taking the pride. The squared circle where legends collide. No mercy, just a wild ride. Light flash, fist clash, can't resist. Boom, the squared circle digest. Pyros ignite, shadows dance in the glow. Ringside roar, it's a gladiator show. Chokeholds tighter than the grip of the night. Climbing the ropes to new championship heights. The mental battlefield, no room for doubt. Every move calculated, every scream a shout. The bell tolls louder than a sinner's regret. This is the place where the bold never forget. The squared circle where legends collide. No mercy, just a wild ride. Light flash, fist clash, can't resist. Boom, the squared circle digest. The squared circle where legends collide. No mercy, just a wild ride. Light flash, fist clash, can't resist. Boom, the squared circle digest. Circle Digest!
We are live Wednesday, 7 p. The new place to be. It is the Squared Circle Digest. I am Sean Stanley. That man down there, we are lucky. We are blessed. The great Frankie Fresco along for the ride. How we doing, Frankie, man? How's the week been, man?
Good, man. It's been a long day today, but we're going. We're talking some wrestling, so I'm excited. Let's do this.
All right. Hopefully we'll make the day a little brighter today for you, Mr. Fresco.
Appreciate it.
This weekend we Backlash. It is normally the Backlash from WrestleMania, and Frankie Fresco, your thoughts on it? Overall, Backlash PLE.
You know, there were some very good things about WWE Backlash. There were some bad things about WWE Backlash that I feel like we still need to work on when it comes to WWE. When it came to the actual fights, you know, like I thought they did a really good job. I like the fact that this time around we didn't have so much commercials. We also had time for these matches to develop and actually enjoyed it. I think one particular match should have never been on Backlash, which was the Danhausen match. I think the problem with that match, in my opinion, is that I don't think it deserves to be on a PLE. I don't have a problem with the match, but I think that's should be more reserved and left over for like a regular Monday night or a SmackDown, in my opinion, instead of putting it on an actual PLE. And then I did like the fact that they listened to us. You know, the backstage, they had an interview with Trick Williams. They gave us some video segments that were good to kind of, you know, people who haven't been, you know, not everybody could watch SmackDown and Monday Night Raw every day, right? Every week. Sometimes people fall behind and stuff. So it's a good way to kind of, you know, if you missed it, you're able to see where this fight kind of came up from and how it all developed for you to be invested on the actual match at Backlash. So I like that. It was, like I said, certain things were good. Certain things they need to work on. I feel they still need to add maybe like an extra fight or two in there to kind of spread the wealth. We don't need the John Cena announcements and all that stuff. And if you want to talk about the John Cena announcement, that was terrible. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. But if you ask me what was an overall grade for Backlash, I'll go with a B-. I think they did a pretty good, decent job. They removed the Danhausen, removed the stupid John Cena tournament, and maybe add one or two more matches on there, and you probably get an A from me.
Yeah, I think you're going to get the Danhausen on most of your not the big four pay-per-views from now on going forward, just because right now he is the number 3 merch mover in WWE. So
He hasn't been. He's been in every single premium live event since he got signed.
no, I mean, yeah, but I mean, he really didn't do much with WrestleMania as far as matches. But I think you might get more of this type of stuff. Although I said that match needed to be shorter. I don't mind that match being on there, but they gave that match too much time. Like that's a match where you have fun, you do your stuff, you get in, you get out. And I felt like it drug a little bit. But I love the Miz and Kit Wilson. I think they did a great job of being there for everything they had to be there for. And the John Cena Classic, you can be a loser and still be a winner, right? That's the age that we're in now.
Terrible.
So
Terrible.
again, it's almost like what NXT used to have with the Dusty Rhodes Classic. You know, they had that at NXT for a while, and now it looks like it's going to be now the John Cena Classic. I'm hoping they do it like a Saturday night's main event or something, or maybe one of the Raws or so. I don't know. I don't want it to be a standalone event. I don't know. I mean,
That's what it sounded like, though.
it did sound like. That's why I'm thinking a Saturday night's main event type thing, because again, it originated from the the main thing of his retirement, which was a Saturday night's main event. So we'll see where they go from there. Like I said, I thought overall I thought it was a B. I still think there's a lot of commercials, although not nearly as much as WrestleMania. But again, WrestleMania is their Super Bowl, so they could probably charge out the yin yang for it. And they got top dollar and used as much of the time as they could. Now this one they probably couldn't. And now you got more wrestling. And I thought that actually helped this PLE with them having the amount of time they had to get matches in, especially like Io and Asuka. I just thought that was a good, send off for Asuka for right now. And then we'll see where it goes. I gave it a B, more like a B plus type grade for the pay per view PLE. I didn't think it was a terrible thing at all. Now Raw came back, Roman and the Jacob. Now there's talk that Roman might have been injured, although I think it's probably for the angle. He had a towel around his wrist and he was limping, which I would hope he'd be selling for the angle. If Jacob Fatu ran through you and your cousins through a fence area there, the what is it? What the hell is the outside the ring? I want to say billboard. I know it's not billboard. I can't think of the damn name of it now, but that area there, they went crashing through. I'd hope he'd have some injuries from. But my question to you, Frankie, we saw how Backlash ended. Roman gets the 1, 2, 3. Jacob kind of rolls over disbelief right away, and then he unleashes the attack. We saw what happened on Raw on Monday. Your thoughts on, I guess, where Frankie Fresco would like to see this angle go, because obviously they're going with it, but where do you think, or how do you think it should be handled?
Well, I think they have to try something new. And I think that's where they're heading with this. I think the fact that Jacob Fatu is actually now beating the crap of Roman Reigns multiple times, even though he lost at Backlash, I think they're building him up to the point for him to actually replace Roman Reigns and actually win the title. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm expecting them to do. Now, I do want to criticize one thing before I go more in depth. They need to cut it with this same crap over and over of like, hey, let me just beat this guy down to take him off TV. Like, they need to come up with some more originality. We saw that at Backlash, then we saw it again on Monday night. How many times did we see it with CM Punk and Roman, and then Roman on CM Punk? It's the same thing over and over and over. They need to be a little bit more creative with that, because you're gonna get, I don't know about you, but for me, it's getting redundant to the point where I'm getting tired of it. And you need to start coming up, especially if you're using AI. Ask AI, hey, what's another way to get somebody out of the show if that's what you want to do, if you want to remove Roman out of it, when it comes to Roman, Roman is the man. He's the champion. So it's going to be a little bit hard for them to just, push him to the side, being the champion. If they wanted to sideline him and not put him in the main spotlight, then I honestly felt they should have given the belt to Jacob Fatu. But I guess what they could do to kind of sell it to us is Jacob run over all of Roman's friends. So go after Jimmy and Jay, knock them out. Probably go to SmackDown and hit up on Solo and his crew as well. Even though Roman doesn't have a very good relationship with Solo, but just take over all that. And I think they should go ahead and they probably should do segments outside of WWE, like these video montage where you could go ahead and make crack fun of it, especially since you're not gonna get Roman every single week at the main event. So in the long run, I hope they do that. I hope that at one point in time we see a change where you see Jacob take over and eventually become the champion. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I think we're getting the better side of Jacob. I didn't like the babyface Jacob. I like the heel one, the guy who's a monster, unable to get beat down, unable to be stopped. The wild one, and it's a wild card, and they're building him up in the way that's gonna be the storyline. I like it. You're gonna have to pretty much kill the guy in order for you to be able to stop him. So in that aspect, I like where they're going. I just wish, I hope that they do what I said, which is try to go after the whole bloodline, everybody, have a little bit of segment out there, maybe crack jokes on some of Roman's family members or something like that. Go to his house, do something while Roman is not around. That way you could still get a little bit of Roman and then, kind of build it up once Roman comes back.
Yeah, and by the way, they have added more back onto Roman's schedule. Remember, he had the whole month of June off or some at some point. It was odd, but he's got the 18th, the 25th, the 31st. He is at Clash in Italy,
Nice.
Turin, Italy. June 1st, he's on the Raw the next night. Then he's out until June 15th. So basically, he's out June 8th. He's missing one Raw, and then he's at Baltimore, Maryland. Then he's out until June 27th, the Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Then he's on the Raw June 29th in Atlantic City. Then he's out again till July 13th, the Raw in Dallas. And then he's back for July 27th, the Raw in Los Angeles. So they did add a couple more dates in there, and it looks like he's probably going to have, I don't know, I don't know how they're going to do it if they write him off. Again, he's going to have a lot of time where he's going to get beaten down, it looks like, to where he's going to be off TV. Or they can do what they did with our next topic, since you led into it so well. They could just drop him off the advertisement. CM Punk, no longer being advertised for the European tour. And then it comes out today that the next time that he's actually being advertised is July 6th in Chicago. So that will give him almost 2 months off of TV before he comes back. Now, Frankie, he loses the title at WrestleMania. AJ Lee is no longer being booked. We know how TKO has gotten on some of these things. You think this is a planned thing, or you think this is a CM Punk, all right, you don't want to keep my girl around, then I'm going to, because that's the first thing I thought of, man, honestly. Right now, with the way everything is going, I was like, I wonder if it rubbed him the wrong way, and he's like, all right, screw you guys, then I'm going to go sit home, then I'll wait until July 6th. I mean, I don't know. I know he wasn't, I think, planned for the European tour, but I thought he was on the original poster. But then they said that he was not originally planned. And again, if you're not going over there, it's like a 2-week tour. So it looks like CM Punk is going to be sitting at home until they come to his home, the house that CM Punk built in Chicago.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think he's kind of lashing out because his girl is out. I think at the end of the day, I think AJ wanted out. She wanted out, in my
I
opinion.
believe so. Yeah.
I think that's why for her she was like, you know what, I'm done. I think I could tell you this. I feel now, no concrete evidence or anything, but I just feel that she came in, she had expectations, she did her little thing, and then she realized, yo, maybe I'm my body is not gonna hold up as I thought it was, and maybe this is why I gotta lay off. Because remember, she only fought against Becky Lynch, to be honest with you. And who else? I don't even remember who else she fought. Maybe somebody on a regular Raw.
Yeah, she fought Bailey on one of the Raws, I
There
think
you
it
go.
was. Yeah.
So if she really, really wanted to be there, I mean, she wanted to be a contender, she could have gone with some of the new girls that were around, and she didn't. So that's my take when it comes to AJ. When it comes to CM Punk, I mean, he just got beat by Roman. Like it was rough. Like he just at WrestleMania, like it wasn't a good take. I think they're giving CM Punk some break because he was going on a consistent basis on every Monday out there and promoting, and then obviously the SmackDown right before WrestleMania he was out there, so he was putting in the work. I just think they're kind of giving him the time to kind of recover from any wounds he might be having, and also kind of give him some time off. That way he could enjoy it, especially now that AJ's not around as much. Maybe it's a way for him to enjoy some time with his wife before he has to put the grind again. And then eventually, in my opinion, return to SmackDown, I think, maybe, I guess. Unless you have Jacob Fatu take the belt, then I could possibly see CM Punk on Monday night. You got to rotate Roman and CM Punk. That's what you got to do if you're going to keep him on Monday night. And you know that in the SmackDown brand, it's going to be Cody and maybe probably, I guess, now Gunther, since that's the feud. So those are kind of your two main attractions over there. Maybe Trick Williams too. And one thing I am upset, I'm not going to lie to you, where's the Gingerbread Man? Come on, man. Gingerbread Man was amazing. Love the Gingerbread Man. They sold me on the Gingerbread Man when I saw that on Friday they were giving the takes of him, and I saw the Gingerbread Man doing what? Doing something that I love, and that is DJing. When he was DJing, I was like, oh, I'm sold on the Gingerbread Man. That's it. It's over.
That's all it took to get your heart, huh? Just
I,
put
I that
little headphones on him and a little DJ. He's good.
Bro, when he was jamming on the headphones, I was like, what? The Gingerbread Man, the DJ? I'm sold. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I feel with CM Punk.
Yeah, no, I honestly, seriously. I mean, it was just funny how it's all kind of worked out. But I would like for them to do some kind of vignettes and maybe, let CM Punk go into how upset he is that he did lose to Roman. Because remember, that was a personal thing. I mean, it didn't get, real personal. He didn't call out Larry or anything, but Roman called out his dad. They went at each other. So I would like to see some vignettes from CM Punk, just kind of like, like you're saying, like, how hard it's affected him, and that's why he's out. At least just throw a vignette on there every once in a while.
Maybe show how old he is.
Or something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I haven't dyed my hair in 3 weeks. Look at it. Look
He's
at it.
sitting
It's
in a
great.
recliner.
Yeah. If everybody's looking, they're like, what this guy talking about hair? He's got none. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do, something like that, just to show him, that, hey, that's kind of the mentality that he took on, was that, he put so much into that, and then to lose, it affects him. He's human. That's the where it'll go. And I just thought it was funny because I saw it today on some of the things, like, like, oh, is CM Punk kind of doing a sit out because of this and that. And I'm like, I don't think it's anything to do with that. It just look, like you said, he's one of the ones that have been, I think, almost on every Raw, and he's done some of the SmackDowns when it was leading into pay-per-views and PLEs and things. So, man needs some time off, and I'm glad he's getting it.
Yeah.
I guess the next thing we can discuss, man, and now this is I'm gonna put this on me a little bit here. We're gonna discuss the documentary, Hulk Hogan documentary, episodes 1 and 2, which kind of delve into before wrestling and then the birth of Hulkamania, in a way. That was 1 and 2, basically, in a nutshell there. I did not get a chance to go back and watch what I wanted to do today, each one. So kind of going to go off of memory here, Frankie. I don't know how long it's been since you've watched either of the first two episodes, or if you were able to go back
Yeah,
and watch it. So
I actually watched it. Okay, so I got some notes.
yeah,
Maybe
go ahead.
it'll
Go
remind
ahead.
you.
Yeah.
So,
No,
so one of the first things that happened in the first episode is that it starts with Hulk Hogan obviously working out in his gym, and then his son is presented. So they
Yeah.
automatically start showing his son right away. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if that was kind of like what Hogan wanted to show his relationship with his son. Because I mean, if you kind of look at it, wasn't it Brooke Hogan who was with him a lot of the time together? Like when he was going through his hard stuff, like when he needed
that
help and
was
other.
that was until the new wife, the second wife, which was never talked about in this whole thing, by the way.
So,
And
so, so
Brooke either. The first thing I noticed though, real quick, it's funny because it did start that way, but the first thing I noticed were the three letters that popped up.
what were-
WWE, and I went, oh man, damn. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna get what I wanted. I'm
well,
not.
I would have again. If we're talking about the whole thing for a split second, I wish they would bring a little bit more controversy than what they did. But they did.
But again, the other thing too, and I want to kind of. They were supposed to meet back up in 3 months to kind of go back over, and again, the documentary was kind of put together because of the passing of Hulk Hogan. They were supposed to meet up 3 months after this sit down and kind of get into more stuff. So,
well,
not going to blame everything there because they said in 3 months we'll hit again and we'll go back over. So they might have maybe watched this footage and went, well, can we go back into this again? Because I know sometimes in documentaries what they'll do is they'll watch the footage and then maybe have questions built on top of other things there. So that's the only thing I will say. And Hulk Hogan passed away before they were able to do that second sit down. But yeah, I felt like a lot of this was soft.
yeah. So he continues to consider himself the best wrestler of all time, and it does bring a little bit of controversy because a lot of people might not agree with that. I personally do. I feel he's the best wrestler of all time. I don't think he is, man. He's probably the best entertainer, and he grew the sport to what it is. But I don't think he's the best wrestler of all time, in my opinion. Is he?
And he's not the most grossing. Steve Austin is the most money making. He was. I don't know about now with the way money's changed and the probably I don't know if somebody might have passed that by now. But yeah, I mean, to me, I've always said if you wanted to kind of like to do like the Mount Rushmore of like wrestling and it's hard though too because like there's other guys that were before Hogan and them, but to do in this era of wrestling, it's Vince McMahon, it's Hulk Hogan, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the fourth one is difficult for me because I don't know, and that's just on making pro wrestling what it is today, to elevating it to what it is today, from Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon putting everything on the line, to what Stone Cold did during the Attitude Era and changed wrestling, saved WWE.
All right. Well,
it's very and no doubt said is Hulk Hogan the most influential wrestler of all time. And I don't even know if that is actually the most influential.
why not? I think so. I think he is the most influential. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people. He influenced a lot of talent, and he influenced a lot of fans to actually tune into the sport.
This is the interesting thing, man. I remember when you look back at wrestling, okay? Honestly, when you look back at wrestling, I don't know how many people I've watched, and I know people have said, Hulk Hogan made me start watching pro wrestling. Yes. But what made them want to be a pro wrestler? It wasn't Hulk Hogan.
I mean, the sport was already making people want to be wrestlers because that's why Hulk Hogan
people were
wanted
like,
to be
I
wrestler.
watched Shawn Michaels, I watched Bret Hart, I watched this guy, I watched that guy, and so like again, influence. And maybe influential is the word, and I don't know, but and no doubt is a lot smarter than I'll ever be. So maybe influential is the right thing, but to me, when I look at influential, it's like, did Hogan make you want to be? What was interesting for me was when he said who made him want to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, me and him share the same thing because that's the guy that made me want to be a pro wrestler.
Really?
Dusty Rhodes, yes.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, I watched Championship Wrestling from Florida.
Yeah.
Right here, and Dusty, it was Dusty versus Kevin Sullivan, the one-man gang, the Purple Haze. He got beaten in a loser leave town match. He came back as the Midnight Rider, talked just like Dusty Rhodes, but wore a mask, and he's like, I'm not Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Well, that I think that's the reason why when you say, did he influence anybody to be a wrestler? I would say no, because that has been something that has been developed from like the very beginning. Everybody who wants to look at wrestling and falls in love with it, they're going to be influenced by somebody else. Some people might have been influenced by him, but not everybody. I mean, he was influenced by Dusty Rhodes. But when it comes to the media, like growing the sport to what it is today, he influenced that. If Vince McMahon did not have him, I don't know if wrestling would have gotten to that level, because eventually in the documentary they talk about the whole situation with the Ultimate Warrior and how that was a really a bad
but
situation. So
I mean, but also I think that Hogan got a little fool of himself, and we'll discuss. I think because I think this gets into real later on.
farther.
But again, in part one, you kind of get to know about him and how he kind of, he grew up in not in South Florida, but in Florida, watching Championship Wrestling from Florida. Dusty's a big influence. He's playing in a band. The wrestlers, when they wrestle in Tampa, used to go to the bar
he was the bass
that he was
guitarist.
playing at, and
He was the bass guitarist of the band.
Yeah, and every wrestler came in and noticed him. Brian Blair was one of them, and again, he was a larger than life character, and that's what Vince McMahon loved. If you look at Vince McMahon, like, the most interesting thing too is, to me, is like, I feel like Vince McMahon always treated it like the circus, right? When you go and you watch the oddities, even the oddities back in the day, like, you got the tall guy, you got Luna leading him out, you got John Tinta with the leather mask, who was Earthquake at the time, and then being, I forgot what they called him under the mask and things like that. And then you got the larger than life people, Hulk Hogan's, you got your Iron Sheiks and Nikolai Volkovs to be the bad guys. It was a running circus, man. But again, you needed to have that larger than life guy. And I think that the thing that helped the most, and it was interesting to me, was all Vince Sr. basically told him, you're fired if you're going to do Rocky. He goes and does Rocky, and then Vince Jr. brings him back basically because of that, because you could see the larger than life of what he was. And that is the one thing, like, that Hogan, I mean, I remember, like, when they showed a picture of him and Mr. T, and it's just like he's towering over this guy. Like, he was larger than, they show him I remember, I'll never forget, 1984, it was Madison Square Garden, the Eye of the Tiger hits, the Iron Sheik's in there doing his thing, the Eye of the Tiger music hits, they go to the back and it's Hogan with his arms and he's just kind of stretching it out as he's walking out, and that was before the Real American music, and it's like, God, this guy's huge, man. And to be honest, because I mostly did Championship Wrestling from Florida, ESPN had AWA, but I didn't see Hogan in AWA. That was the first time I think I'd seen, Hulk Hogan that I can remember. And he was larger than life. And they took that and they ran with it. And they went to MTV, and you had Cyndi Lauper doing the WrestleMania one, just illustrated how much of a mind Vince McMahon had. And again, I don't know if it was all Vince, if there was other people in there, because I know Pat Patterson was very instrumental in some things and this and that. But the fact that he had to, the idea that, hey, look, as a wrestling entity, we're not going to be able to do what I want to do. But if we go out and we get, Saturday Night Live, and we get Mr. T, and we get the Cyndi Laupers, and we fix them into things, then we appeal to a whole nother audience, or another two or three different audiences that might not be wrestling audiences, but they're going to tune in. And that was the draw to what WrestleMania 1 was. Because, again, we went over the card. There was nothing special but the 3 main events. That's it. Other than that, that card was basically a Saturday night at the Armory.
Yep. They do go and explain the relationship that he had with his dad. Obviously, how
I've
his
heard
dad
mixed things on this, by the way.
how strict his dad was, and how he hated the fact that he dropped out of school and was just doing his rock stuff. And didn't take school so serious. What mixed things did you hear about this?
Because, of course, the day after the video comes out, Brooke was on Bubba the Love Sponge. And the first thing she said was she felt like they placed a lot of blame on his dad that wasn't... Like, at the beginning, it felt like his dad was the blame for some of his stuff. The way he treated him is the way he came out.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just saying, like, I don't necessarily remember it that way as far as with her grandfather or whatever and her dad.
But again, she wasn't there. Come on, I mean, she doesn't know. This is Hulk Hogan. Like, if there's one thing you're gonna go ahead,
but Bubba was in the same thing, and Bubba and Hogan were very tight until they weren't. Until they weren't, they were very tight. I mean, there is skeletons in the closet, and apparently one of the things that he's been saying is coming out on TMZ now. So,
yeah. So then, Hulk Hogan does kind of compare himself to like Dracula. He knows that his character is fake, but he understands that everybody knows him as Hulk Hogan, and it means a lot to the fans. We also get a little bit of more information as far as like, hey, he sucked in the ring like most people, but then while he was training, what was it with
it was Hiro Matsuda broke his leg.
Yeah, at the dungeon, right? It was at the dungeon.
No, it wasn't the dungeon. It was they called it the dungeon, but it was in Championship Wrestling from Florida. It was Hiro Matsuda, and basically what he did was, back in the day, you didn't get in the ring until you were taking bumps on concrete. Like, they were doing all the stuff in the concrete, and then you get in the ring as a graduation type thing. Like, you graduate to get into the ring, and and if you got too full of yourself, they were real quick to knock you off your pedestal.
Yep. And then Brian Blair mentions to us that Hulk Hogan's first match was against the Super Destroyer. And I didn't know this. I didn't know that Hulk Hogan.
No, his first match was as the Super Destroyer, I believe, under the mask.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Under the mask, yeah.
Yes, and I didn't know that he actually fought or wrestled at the beginning with a mask. I didn't know that. It was out of my question, but it was good because you know what? It's a good way to get somebody to learn, take a couple of losses, and it's not going to hurt your brand because you're
not that character yet.
Yeah, you're not that character, and nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, nobody, especially back in those days, like nobody. It's not like today where you're like, who the hell's under that mask? Back then it was just like the Super Destroyer, okay, and then all of a sudden Hogan, he probably could have went back and changed 3 matches later and came out as Hulk Hogan, and everybody been like, oh my God, he's here. But not then, of course, because he was still Terry Boulder and everything else going on.
Yeah, well, actually, he fought Brian Blair. That was his first match as the Super Destroyer. And then you're right. He then moved on to becoming the Terry Boulder. And then that's when they bring in a character here by the name of Jimmy Hart. Now, what did you think about Jimmy Hart and his first appearance on the documentary? It looks like he had a bit of influence by Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, well, Jimmy was a big Mid-South guy back in the day. But again, he hitched his wagon to the right horse, shall we say? And the rest is history. But I thought it was interesting though when they had Lawler in there and he said that he told Hogan he was never going to make money.
Yeah. But you know what? I know about wrestling mostly when Hulk Hogan was around. I watched some of the old stuff, but I never knew how big Lawler was. I had no idea that
Oh,
Jerry
dude, he was
Lawler was
huge.
very big back in the
He
day.
was the king because he ran mid South was his, and I mean everything ran through Jerry Lawler for the longest time. I mean,
I had no idea.
yeah, and it was interesting too because, again, the problem that Hogan had when he was first starting was when you first start, especially back in those days, because the territory days, you would spend 2 or 3 months in one territory, then you'd move on and this and that. And I think what the problem was he wasn't able to establish what again, he wasn't Hulk Hogan yet, but he wasn't anything yet. He was the Super Destroyer here. Then he went to Terry Boulder here. And then he went to another place, I forgot, and they changed it again. And it's like you can never sit there and build the one character to grow if you're constantly changing it and changing it and changing it because you don't know who is Terry Boulder, who is the Super Destroyer, who is, whatever it's going to be. And that was, I think, the thing that I noticed the most, watching this was the fact that, and again, he said himself, he wasn't the greatest. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, this is just another one of these big guys. He's going to make a couple dollars in the industry and then he's going to be gone. They didn't see what others saw in him, meaning like Vince Sr. and then of course Vince Jr. But yeah, they didn't see it in him because again, there was a lot of guys. Even Bret Hart said he fought him, I think, in Mid-South, and all he could do was a bear hug. You would bear hug him and squeeze him and throw him around, and it would look like a bear wrestling. You're wrestling this big giant guy. He just throws you around, manhandles you, and done. And it's kind of the other thing too is you become an attraction a lot of times when you're that guy, and you don't have to do anything. You just get in the ring, you whatever, get him in the bear hug, throw him down, and your night's done. Because you become that on the shows. People are there to watch the attraction, Andre the Giant, and all that stuff. So I feel like he was kind of, as he said himself, he was green as hell, and he didn't know how to find himself.
Yep. And by the comment that you said that Bret Hart said that all he knew what to do was a bear hug, that's kind of where he kind of got his name, Hulk Hogan, because eventually the promoters would start saying Hogan is bigger than life, and then they're like, oh, he's bigger than the Hulk and all this stuff, and then that's how they came up with the initial Terry the Hulk Boulder, and then they eventually develop into Hulk Hogan. The first episode ends with the whole controversy of the Rocky movie. So as you kind of remember, what he mentioned was that Vince McMahon Sr. wanted Hulk Hogan to do a lie. He debuted it against, I believe it was Ted DiBiase back in
It was Ted DiBiase in the
MSG.
Garden. Yep.
And Ted DiBiase, got him over, which was pretty cool. And after that, he just started to blow up, right? People wanted to see him more and more. You knew that you were very, very involved. A lot of fans were bought into you if you were going up against Hulk Hogan, right? That was the main thing. Everybody back then, they mentioned in the documentary that if you had a match with Hulk Hogan, or if you were in the card with Hulk Hogan actually in it,
Well,
then
that was
knew.
after he became Hulkamania, though.
Correct.
Yeah, that was going into part 2.
So, obviously, we get the situation of him doing Rocky and how Vince Sr. didn't want him to do it, and he still does it. And he mentions that he doesn't regret it because he knew. Look, you got to give him credit where credit is due. He knew that wrestling was a form for him to become even bigger, and he noticed that from day one when they told him he's larger than life. He ran with it. He was like, what? If I'm getting a shot at doing this this is only gonna blow me up more and more. And he did it. And even though he thought that he was never gonna come back to WWE or WWF at the time, that was the right choice. I don't think
No,
it
well,
was
he made
wrong there.
that choice, and he again he went to AWA after that movie was done, and that's where he started becoming more flamboyant. He was like an evil Hulk Hogan. He was the immortal. He would have the cape on, like superstar Billy Graham style,
Hmm.
and things like that. And then Vince Senior sells to Vince Junior, and that's where Hulk Hogan's whole thing. Because again, if Vince Senior keeps WWF, I don't know that we get what we got.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But that's kind of where we finish with the first episode, and then with the second episode, it starts the focus of Vince McMahon and developing the WWF, and of course, what you just finished mentioning, the Hulkamania, the rise of Hulkamania, and just changing the business and making it very, very popular, and people just being invested into Hulkamania, and pretty much taking over, the whole wrestling world, right? You were started seeing WWF grow to heights that a lot of people didn't expect. Was there
Well,
any take in particular from the second episode that you got from the documentary?
I don't know that it was not expected because Vince was cutthroat. Vince
Hmm.
took every top guy in every territory to the WWF. And again, Roddy Piper was in Oregon. He took him from the Oregon territory, brought him to WWF. You had all these guys and gals. Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood were in North Carolina, and then they brought. He was getting talent from everywhere, and that's what was hurting the territories. And that's where like this really became a thing because if this didn't work,
What about Oscar?
they would have lost everybody. They would have lost the roster and everything else. The one thing I wish they would have asked Hogan was if he knew the situation that was given to the Iron Sheik involving the match in 1984 in Madison Square Garden. I wish if he knew that, or again, the story is that Vern Gagne was going to give him $100,000 if he broke Hogan's leg in that match because Hogan had left him high and dry basically and had went there, and Iron Sheik knew where his bread was buttered. He knew that if if this worked, this was going to skyrocket, and he played it right. But I do wish that they would have kind of said, were you aware of this or did you have any idea?
Of course, especially since unfortunately we never got to hear from the Iron Sheik's side of the story either. So it just I wish they would have at least asked Hulk Hogan, that way we could get at least his side of the story and find out if how he would have react, like what if he knew about it, like what did it shook him, did it made him like
Yeah.
be hesitant. But I mean, the way they fought and they wrestled that night, I don't think he kind of knew. um
Yeah, and the other thing too is a lot of people don't know this. Iron Sheik was a shoot wrestler. Like if he wanted to tie Hogan up, he could have tied Hogan up. Now, and he was I believe he was a gold medalist in the Iranian games
oh, I didn't know that.
or stuff like that. I mean, he was a legit, again, by the time he was at that, I don't know what his age was there. It looked like he was a little bit, could he have taken, I don't know, but he was a legit shooter.
Yes.
So he could have given Hogan fits if he wanted to.
Yeah. And then in the on the second episode as well, it gives us how Linda Hogan all of a sudden fell for the guy, how they
Yeah.
met, and how, you know, he couldn't live without her and all this stuff, and eventually, he ends up obviously proposing to her and all that stuff, and they end up becoming kind of like a partnership on that. And then from there on out, it pretty much, you start getting some you actually got the voice of Vince McMahon um saying a couple things on, the whole Hogan thing. He calls Hulk Hogan and tells him he was booked on hot properties, and kids in wheelchairs were there, and there was a lot of things that Hulk Hogan started doing now, right? You to win
Yeah.
over the kids over, and wasn't
Make
he
a
the first
wish.
one? Yeah,
He's
wasn't he
doing
the
make
first
a.
one?
What is that?
Wasn't he the first one to like do the Make a Wish and all that stuff? I think
Might
he
have
was
been
the
one of the
first
first
one.
wrestlers to do
Yeah,
a make a
one of the
wish.
first
Yeah.
wrestlers. Yeah, that's what I'm
Maybe.
about to
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a good way for Hulk Hogan's persona, his image, to captivate the fans inside the ring and outside the ring, right? And just grow and I mean, when you look at Vince McMahon and his marketing of Hulk Hogan was insane because he really put all his eggs in one basket and it paid off. Like if
I
Hulk
mean, they
Hogan
made
wouldn't have worked.
cartoons, they made lunch boxes. It was Hulk Hogan was everywhere, man. And at that point, this was before the John Cena. The John Cena campaign was basically Hulk Hogan, 2.0. But back then, that wasn't, I mean, again, people had merchandise, people had, things going for them, but not to the degree that Hogan, had it. Appearances everywhere. Um, it. I mean, it just look at the way it took off. I mean, I don't even know how to put into words unless you watch it. How it was like that 1984 to maybe 86, 87 era was just crazy, man. I remember there was the Hulk Hogan. Apparently, thanks, Josh.
Wow. Okay, good for him, man.
Yeah, man, gives money. He had. I remember the one time it wasn't like a side, but there was a vitamins. There was a lunch box. I mean, there was everything was Hogan.
Well,
You know,
at that time also they were building up on WrestleMania, and then you also had the fame of Mr. T, right?
yeah,
And you also had you had so much going on, and then the documentary kind of shifts a little bit back to the whole something that a lot of you guys, if you guys watch Hulk Hogan's documentaries and the story about Hulk Hogan, is the whole Richard Belzer thing where he chokes him out and hurts him. Was there anything about that particular part of the documentary that you were like you wanted to know anything more, or was it something that you're like, yeah, we already know about this, just mention it and keep moving?
yeah. No, I think they spent maybe just a little bit too much time on it. But again, there was a part that happened, and again, it's one of those things, man. Back in those days, like I remember the Dr. D David Schultz thing. The guy was telling him wrestling was fake in the hallway, and he walked up and he slapped him in the face, and he's like, "Is that fake? Is that fake?" And then Vince McMahon pulls him out, and he's like, "Appreciate what you did for the business. Here's the check. You're fired."
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? But again,
I do miss that from
it's
the
like
wrestlers today.
you had to. I mean, you got to protect it at that point. It wasn't like if he hooks him in a front face lock, and Belzer just pops up and is like, "Hey, what does that tell you about WrestleMania? The match coming up at WrestleMania." Now you just choked him out, and he falls and he hits his head, and now what? Like, okay, all right.
Now WrestleMania has to work. If not, he's screwed.
Yeah. I mean, well, he was going to be screwed if it didn't work. They were both screwed because,
Yeah.
Again, that's where it was the quote unquote protecting the biz is what they did, man. I mean, I remember Mr. T with this comments, right? Let him know.
Yeah.
Let him know.
Mr. T was good too. Which I mean, he also was there for Hogan. Like and I love that. I love that, and I do miss the old school wrestlers that would say, "Yo, wrestling's not like." I'll never forget Roddy Piper when he got loud to this guy, the guy on HBO. I forgot his name. But he was like,
Bob Costas or
No, not-
Rome? No, was it Rome? No.
no, it wasn't Rome. It was the
Trying to
other
think who it
guy.
was.
Oh man, I forgot the other guy. If you guys know who I'm talking about on the
Brian.
no, he does the HBO
Gumble?
thing. No, not Brian Gumble. It's the older guy. He's older. He does like hot takes sometimes and stuff like that. He brings over some people. I forgot his name, man. Damn it. But I do remember Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper was on there, and then Roddy Piper's like, "Is this fake?" And he lifts up his leg. He drops down his pants and he shows I
and
think his thigh.
Yeah, the hip
His
surgery
hip.
and all that.
Yeah.
Maher.
Yeah, Bill Maher.
Bill
There you
Maher.
go. Bill Maher. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes,
Appreciate you, man.
still more. Yes,
And Josh and Adrian and everybody in the chat, appreciate you, no doubt. Papa.
Yeah, and then obviously in episode 2, we get the first sighting, which was a little bit shocker, was of our president right now, Donald Trump. He shows
Yep.
up on episode 2 talking about how he met Hulk Hogan in the Trump Plaza, and he and Hogan had a really good relationship. Um, what did you think about Trump being invited into the documentary?
Well, I mean, they ran two back-to-back pay-per-views at 2 WrestleManias in a row at, I believe it's 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, 5 and 6 days. So, and again, at that time, again, Hogan said at that time, again, however you want to believe, whatever, he wasn't really into politics and things like that. And I think, look, man, larger than life guy, you run the arena that they're the casinos that they're at, and they're doing it. You want to hook your wagon,
Oscar? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you want to hook your wagon to the guy that is, the breadwinner, right? I mean, and that's kind of what you got in that, that part of it, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, so they also started talking about what you guys what Oscar just mentioned about the Ultimate Warrior and how they tried Hogan didn't have enough time to be with his family, and because he didn't have time with his family, he had gone to Vince asking him, "Hey, can you bring another star? Because I can't be doing all these shows 24/7. I'm burned out. I need another star." And here comes the Ultimate Warrior. But again, this is stuff that nothing of this was new. Like if you've watched and seen Hulk Hogan, all this stuff was pretty stuff that you already know. Like you knew Hulk Hogan didn't have time with his family. You knew that at one point in time they wanted to try to go and do the whole Ultimate Warrior and try to take him over. Like none of this is new. Like all of this is just kind of like a recap of what we already know of him. So it wasn't that much of a like, oh wow, like what we wanted. You feel me? Like stuff that we've never heard of. I didn't get that from these first 2 episodes or the whole documentary. But anything else that stands out during the second episode of the Hulk Hogan that you can remember?
I'm trying to. I got a little bit of notes here. Let me see if I'm going through here real quick.
Yeah. Because they do talk about Warrior, how he would mess up.
Yeah.
He wanted. Oh, the fact that Ultimate Warrior wanted to like end the match early, and Hulk Hogan told him no.
He was like, no, man, we're not going home yet. No.
Like, I didn't know Hulk Hogan was such a lazy ass, bro. Like I knew he sucked, but man, was he a lazy ass? Like I was like,
Warrior.
damn, dude.
You mean Warrior?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not Hogan. Ultimate Warrior. He was such a lazy ass.
But you have to remember, the Warrior WrestleMania entrances, he had to run like basically 50 yards, do his thing, shake the ring around, do all his stuff, run up and down. That dude was gassed, man. He was
taking steroids just like everybody else during that time.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing
pretty
cardio.
sure
he wasn't doing cardio. He was just pumping weights, man.
No cardio for those roids.
He wasn't doing the 5Ks. He was just doing the. But yeah, I thought the other thing too about his brother, I didn't realize.
Oh, he does talk about his brother in the first episode,
the issues his brother had, and the fact that he finally had a chance, and he thought his brother had changed his ways, and he gave him money, and then he comes home and finds out that his brother basically had an overdose because of his addiction, and then he felt that it was on him because he had given him the money. When you think you're helping somebody out, and because I think his brother told him it was for something, for a house or something. He told him it was something else, but then it ended up being.
Well, I think he had been sober for a minute.
Yeah, he had been sober, and then it went.
And then he just went. I mean, and you did get an emotional Hulk Hogan there because he
had to stop it. He stopped it.
Yeah, but I mean, look, man. At the end of the day, it's hard to talk about that. But I will say this, and I don't know if you saw this, but during the I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles, the Philadelphia 76ers. Is that where, or no, it was the Detroit Pistons, because that's where the ex Miami Heat player is playing. What is his name? The 3-point shooter. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, your boy,
Damn it.
Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson, yes. And I don't know if you saw the take about what happened to his brother, and how his brother was suffering to the point where unfortunately he took his life away. So those are delicate topics. Those are
Yeah.
sensitive topics to talk about. So in a way, when he was mentioning that, I don't think I had ever heard him speak about his brother before. So that
Yeah,
was
no,
new for
I
me.
believe that's one of the first times I had actually heard him talk about that. And also, I mean, like his dad, I've heard passing things about, but um, never what I heard in the documentary. So I guess that was the other thing. And the other thing too was, I guess how open they were about all the drugs they were doing. I
Well,
mean, I
that's
guess
actually that's the
doesn't
whole
matter at this point anymore. But the fact that
the
and
steroids is the next.
well, not yeah, the steroid, but also, but I mean, even when they were saying they were at houses and they were doing, you know, cocaine and everything else, and they show the guys, and it's like, Jake Roberts is there, who was again, the tapes kind of pull back the curtain, right? We saw Jim the Animal Neidhart, we saw Natalia in it later as well, but a lot of the guys that were in there at these parties were guys that he was wrestling, the next night and things like that, and you party hard, you got to play hard, and Hogan was burning it on both ends.
Yeah. So that pretty much covers the first two episodes. The next two episodes goes into what Sean was bringing up to, more about the steroid use, and also the rise of Hollywood Hogan as well, right? I think that's
Yeah,
the
the
next two episodes.
WCW days, yeah, and
WCW
then
days. So we'll get into that next week and talk a little bit more about the documentary and see if there's anything if you guys haven't seen it, or if you have, and if there's something that stands out to you guys, like what Oscar wrote when he said Ultimate War really sucked at promos, let us know. Write it on the chat board and let us know. That way,
well, also
I'm
the
just trying.
problem too is here's the thing with the Ultimate Warrior, man. And I talked a little bit about it with the whole Hogan thing. The best characters are people that are you. Maybe you have to pump it up, volumes, but it's a thing. Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea was Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm saying? But he just got it boosted up. Ultimate Warrior was not the Ultimate Warrior. It was a straight character, and he wanted to, and that's why it came off so hard for him to do the things, because you're trying to snarl and you're trying to do all this stuff that's not him.
Yeah.
And it just, and then again, the other thing too with the Ultimate Warrior was he got into this thing where, well, if I'm the handpicked guy for Hogan, then that must mean I'm better than everybody else. And
Yeah, but he kind of wanted to do the shortcut. Like that's what I got from the documentary too.
yeah, well, no, he wanted to do a shortcut, and then he wanted to hold Vince hostage on certain things.
yeah, he did. Yeah,
I'm
he
not
did.
going to the ring unless you give me $1 million for this match. Okay, no problem. I'll give you $1
Maybe
million.
maybe I'll
You
tune
go to
in.
the ring and you're fired. See you later when you get back. It's
Yeah,
like,
maybe
but
I gotta watch a whole an Ultimate Warrior documentary and see a little bit more about his history, because I've never seen documentaries of the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know if there's
well, I
any
mean, the
out
only
there.
ones I've seen have been WWE driven, and they don't go into as much detail. I just know from stories of people talking on shoot interviews
Gotcha.
about how he was, and he was always to himself. He was always very difficult. When you saw there where he was trying to cut a promo and he couldn't do it at all. Like he couldn't. I mean, it's like, oh God.
They would do. How many takes did they do that promo? They did it quite a few times.
Well, it was
bro.
also like, what was it? Was it Sid?
I don't remember who
Was
it
it
was.
Sid in WCW or WWE? I think it was Sid in WCW. Him and Mean Gene, they're doing a thing, and Sid's doing his thing, and he messes up. And he go, "Damn it! Oh, let's retake. He goes, we can't retake, brother. We're live.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, and it's like, hey, that's what you gotta, man.
That's
It-
Ultimate
it's
Warrior for you, bro.
it's just like, bro, like, oh man, bro, like, again, it was him trying to be a character, him trying to be a superhero that he wasn't. With Hogan, it came off kind of natural because it was Hogan amped up. Then
Yeah,
you
but-
can just roll things off. But when you're trying to, I'm a warrior, dude, you're trying so hard. How are you gonna remember words? You can't remember anything else. Like, bro,
Yeah, but here's where I won't give him any excuse. Like as a
I'm not giving him an
wrestler-
excuse. I'm just saying that was the problem with the Ultimate Warrior was
Yep.
he wasn't trying to be, a wrestler. He was trying to be a superhero or a character that could be the next Hulk Hogan. Instead of worrying about getting better at his craft, he thought he was going to be able to take that meteoric rise because of what happened with Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think where he lacked was the fact that he didn't like put in the effort that he should have. And like you said, he felt like, hey, just because I'm gonna be the guy, I got handpicked. That means this is gonna be a cakewalk, and I could do whatever I want.
I'm
And-
done. All right, I'm picked. I'm basically appointed to be the next guy. All right, let me go. What I gotta do? And it's like, and then they saw what it was and was like, dude, we can't have our champion doing 5-minute matches for people that are paying. Again, at that time it wasn't even what it is now. But could you imagine Roman Reigns coming out, hitting the music, hitting 2 clotheslines, picking the guy up over his head, dropping him, splashing him 1, 2, 3, and then running back to the back? That's your main event. People would go freaking bananas right now.
maybe you can't do that with Roman, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did that with Obafemi.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it'll be when he's a champion. He'll do it early.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but I know we talked about the documentary. I know we're gonna talk AEW. I want to throw in one topic before we jump into the AEW.
No. You didn't clear this with me, man. You didn't clear this. What are we doing?
I like throwing wrench like a monkey wrench for you. That way I could get your. That way I could have your take and get your real take and not have you prepared for what I'm gonna bring up to the table. So it's not that difficult. We all saw Obafemi, his run with the Open Challenge got cut short already. You had the Garzas get their asses kicked, and supposedly, I don't know.
They're gone.
They're gone. They're officially gone, right? It's just terrible. All right, so here's my question to you, Sean. You have these Open Challenges for Obafemi. You had the Danhausen comedy / match on Backlash. You had the Gingerbread Man, which I loved, but you had it on a SmackDown, and they were selling that quite heavily on SmackDown.
The funeral.
Yeah, it's the funeral. My question to you is WWE using their talent correctly? Because if you're using, and let's not forget the John Cena portion as well, are they using their time wisely? Should these particular storylines exist right now? Like, does this generation should be, if this is entertainment, is this entertainment for you, or should those be replaced with some of the guys that have been let go, or some of the people that we haven't seen in a few? Like, where is WWE taking us with this whole nonsense, in my opinion?
But it's not nonsense though. That's the problem. Is
You don't think it's nonsense?
People think now that it's only wrestling if it's inside inside the ropes, the 4 corners, the 4 square, the squared circle digest, the squared circle. Like wrestling's more than that. Wrestling's still entertainment. There's still aspects of everything. I think Matthew Reinwold said it the best, and hopefully I said his last name correctly, was like, a lot of people are forgetting, and I brought it up a little bit earlier, that this wrestling originated in a circus. There was clowns, there were strongmen, there were bearded ladies, there was, fighting, and there was everything. You have a little bit of something for everybody. And that, to me, like, again, is where Danhausen comes in now, because John Cena's gone. You need something for the kids to draw their parents to the arena. Because as Vince said, and I will agree with them now, when I used to fight it all the time, If you can get that kid to want to get a ticket, he's going to bring his mom, his dad, his brother, sister. The whole family's coming if you can get the little kid in. Instead of selling one old man smoking a cigar in the front row, now you got a family of 5. That's 5 butts in the seats that you didn't have just by going and placating to the kids. And right now, Danhausen is that for the kids. Again, is he my cup of tea? I like what they're doing with him. I don't know that I want to watch him wrestle for 12 minutes ever again. But, and then you get your OBAs and your special attractions, and then you get your other stuff. So as far as using the talent wisely, they could probably use some people better. They definitely could. But I don't think that you sacrifice. Again, you're using Danhausen now because the Cena era is gone. You have to have something for the kids. Who on the air right now is for the kids other than Danhausen?
Probably R-Truth.
But I mean, he's defending every once in a while on SmackDown the title.
But no, but you also have the Codys that the kids really love, the Jey Usos that the kids really love. You have those too. Penta is a big one because of his luchador vibes. You have them.
Yeah, but you can't have them do the stuff to placate to the kids because they're in angles. They're in matches. You can't have them do the stupid, silly stuff Danhausen's doing to placate to the kids. Penta can't do that. He's the Intercontinental Champion.
I feel
Rhodes can't do that because he's the heavyweight champion. Like, yes, you can. The kids kind of, go to them because of the mask or, with Cody or whatever. But Danhausen's there to be, and again, he's not even just for the kids. It's for like the teenagers and the thing there. Like when he did the whole thing where he's building up his Danhausen. This is going to be my Danhausen. He does the whole thing. He does the whole thing. He pulls down the K. He pulls down the thing. He's up high. He's like, this is my guy. And then the Minihausen walks out and he's like, oh, shit. Like, that's the little stuff. It's dumb stuff, but it's placated toward that audience, man. And
but look, I don't have a problem with them doing that.
No, it sounds like you do.
For 5 minutes. I don't want.
You gotta
I don't
give
want
more than 5.
I mean, how much time did they give him in that match?
There's too much time there.
How much did they give him on SmackDown when he was in the back doing that stupid computer thing, trying to recreate his clone and stuff like that? Like, man, I mean, they're giving him a lot of time. And again, I don't have a problem with him showing up here and there, but I think they're giving him way too much time. You don't need to go and be showing him on a PLE. You don't need, and I love the Gingerbread Man. I'm one of the first ones to say I loved it, but I felt like they gave too much time for the Gingerbread Man. Look, I think the Ray Phoenix had more time visiting the Gingerbread Man than actually being in the ring. So, and that's where I feel like it's hurting the show. It's hurting the programming. You don't have, where is Ray Phoenix? Where is the Matt Cardonas Matt Cardona actually get a legit fight and actually work out there? LA Knight, where is he at? Like, you want to see these guys work. There's a lot of talent out there that they're just brushing it off and saying, screw it. Liva Valkyria, she could be working out there. You could have, who else is the faction, the 3 girls. I mean, I know they wrestled, but put more time into those girls. They're obviously just coming up from the NXT into the main roster. Give those girls the opportunity to shine even more. I mean, look how they've treated Julia. Julia has been ass. Fraxium. What happened to them? They're people, like, you have so much talent in the WWE that they're really not utilizing. Where's Carmelo Hayes? Where's Ilya Dragunov? Where's all these guys that they're talented, that I think you could fit them in a PLE instead of giving us Danhausen? That's just me, though. I think that's where I think WWE is dropping the ball. I don't want to see Danhausen.
You can say that, but again, during WrestleMania weekend, only 2 people outsold Danhausen at WrestleMania 42. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Danhausen was number 3. He outdid Roman Reigns. He outdid Rhea Ripley. I mean, he outdid Jacob Fatu, Jade Cargill. You know, I mean, so again, we know how TKO is. We know how they're doing all this stuff. So as long as he's doing that much in merchandise, you're going to be seeing him on TV.
And again, I don't have a problem with seeing him on TV. I just don't think they need to dedicate as much time as they've given him, especially since he's been on every PLE ever since he got signed. That's just me, though. Every single PLE since he's been signed, he's been on every single PLE. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can. He's number 3 in merch. Of course he's going to be on there. I mean, no, the numbers don't lie. People are, maybe he's not, your cup of tea or anything like that. I mean, I'll agree with you. I don't know that he should have had, as much time in the match on the PLE, but he deserves the matches on PLE because the character has taken off.
Well, look at No Doubt. No Doubt says, enjoy the moment because Danhausen won't last forever. Have fun. And that's true. If you start feeding us way too much Danhausen, like I said last week,
no, I don't think
you're gonna get burned out. And you're going to be like, man, I'm done with this guy. I don't want to see him anymore.
I don't think so.
I think that could happen with that. So, but we could be wrong. But I'm telling you, I've been right about Dom, and I'm heading right with Julia.
I mean, think about the course of Danhausen, okay? He started on the Indies, then he did a show with somebody, a big name. Who was it?
I don't know. I remember listening. If you guys listened to the Chris Van Fleet interview with Danhausen a while back when he was in AEW, that one was a really good interview. And I think he does mention it in that interview who he did the big show. Because I remember somebody mentioned to him saying, yo, like he was an actual wrestler. Here in the Chris Van Fleet interview when Danhausen was in AEW, he goes and they tell him, hey, I was wrestling, I was the same guy as everybody else, and what ended up happening is somebody told him, hey, keep the paint
he was on Conan O'Brien. It's Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
Recently? He did a thing with Conan O'Brien on his podcast saying that many have likened the looks of Danhausen to Conan O'Brien possessed by a demon. And then that led to Danhausen eventually joining Conan's podcast. His voice also incorporates Mark Hamill's Joker. They're just going into it, but that's who the one was there. And he started doing all of that stuff. And then he just grew, man. This guy's been around for almost 8 to 10 years doing this. And I mean, it's gotten better with everything. And now you get the machine that is the WWE and the production of WWE behind him. Like, I mean, he was doing this on his own and with very little things. And now you have production of the WWE behind him.
I mean, if you like midgets running around on WrestleMania and
first off, they're mini-housens, all right?
They're midgets.
They're mini-housens.
Everybody said that they're midgets. Wasn't it the commentators, one of them said that they were midgets. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. The mini housing guy, who is he's in Triple A.
He used to be El Torito when they were doing the Matadors and all those guys.
He's legit. El Torito.
Actually, that was Los Garza, I believe, was the guys that he was the bull for.
Yeah, and Oscar says I agree with Eric. Danhausen on the mic is genius, especially when R-Truth calls him Oscar. I will say this one crazy thing about that. If you listen to the Chris Van Fleet interview, he actually says that he has to change his voice over for the Danhausen voice, and that he actually can't be talking as the Danhausen on a daily basis because he was developing like some issues with his throat. So he's actually had to take like drugs and done therapy for his throat. That way it doesn't hurt him. That is very, very similar to, if you guys don't know, Steve Urkel back in the day with Family Matters, where Steve Urkel actually would change his voice, and then he suffered so many freaking voice issues, like his throat issues, because
he was Steven and he was Stefan.
Yeah, well, actually, that was one of the reasons why they created Stefan, because of the simple fact that he was able to use his regular voice instead of having to use the Steve Urkel voice because he was just going through pain after pain. Yeah, man, that shit hurts. And Danhausen does the same thing. He has to change his voice, and it hurts his throat. So I get that. I mean, I'm not hating on Danhausen.
I feel like you are.
I'm just saying they need to cut back a little bit on that and give some more to the wrestlers, bro. Give some exposure to Carmelo Hayes, to Royce Keys, to Ray Phoenix. Roy Phoenix just came out bitching and saying, "Yo, bro, shout out to my boy Penta, my brother, but damn, bro, I wish I had that opportunity, bro."
Sometimes you gotta, be man enough to take it there, Penta.
I mean, he's been taking it quite a few weeks, right? And
See what happens.
we will.
All right. So since you were talking about that with WWE using people properly,
Oh,
I've got my first AEW subject, and this is where we'll probably lose half of the people. Talking to AEW now.
be surprised.
Now, last week we talked a little bit about Darby Allin and defending the title and what it would mean for the title. Now, he went through and he beat Kevin Knight. He went through and he beat Pac. And now he was supposed to take on Okada, but Okada had to go to Japan.
He beat Ciampa too.
He beat Ciampa as well beforehand. Now he's taking on Takeshita.
Oh, Takeshita.
Now, my question to you is this, Frankie. Not the title, but like if you keep feeding him these guys on the roster, what are you doing to the AEW roster to prove that Darby Allin is a fighting champion? Hold on a minute. Might be a hot topic, but what are your thoughts on the John Cena announcement? Me, 28. I think it's a joke, to be honest. I like the idea, but the fact when he said you can lose and still win a championship, like, what are we doing here?
All right, me.
I'm
28.
very interested to see where it goes, but I do think there's a little bit of a sad element to the John Cena Classic.
The me 28. Good question. I think at the end of the day, it's a terrible decision for WWE. I think it's wrong. I hope they get rid of it. I hope it falls and crashes because it looks like it's a participation grade. And I highly doubt that WWE is gonna let their fans vote on who the best person deserves it, even if they don't win. So, I mean, because I'm telling you right now, if it really does, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's.
I'll tell you this: if they allow us to, I'm voting for the first guy that loses.
Not
The
only
first match, whoever loses, I'm voting for.
No. I'm gonna vote for I'm gonna look at the whole each match, and the wrestler that does the worst, I'm gonna vote for that person, whether it's a guy or a girl. Like if she botches like 3 or 4 of them, oh, perfect, I'm picking her. Or if LA
Give her
Knight,
the belt. Give her the belt.
or if it's LA Knight, I'll give it to LA Knight because he botched like 4 or 5.
Yeah, he's probably going to be there. Yeah, he's botched.
But here's my thing about this whole thing. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they actually go ahead and say, hey, the people who could only vote are the people who sign up for that WWE club. Crap.
Yeah, that's what's going to be. Yeah.
So that's even gonna piss me off even more. So that's what I think about that. I think it's a waste of time. And I think at the end of the day, WWE needs to let John Cena just let him go, bro.
Yeah, man. He is the new Brock Lesnar, buddy. When we need something, hey, have him host it.
It's just such a waste of time, man. Again, like I told you, they should have gone ahead and put in another match for that. He was there standing for what, 5-10 minutes, probably, announcing garbage.
Yeah. And me 28 said, I agree. I was interested with the voting system, but then I just expect everyone who is over, like not being funny in all respect. Danhausen could win the thing because he is so over. Wouldn't be mad if, and then he put Oba. I don't know that you put those guys in this. Like to me, you would put this. This is a perfect thing for your LA Knights, Carmelo Hayes, that tier of talent. If you're putting Oba in there, like, what are we doing?
Here's the other thing you got to also take into consideration. Is the NXT talent that is there right now going to get the same reaction as when you brought the other people over? Because when you got the Obas,
Tony
you got a
D'Angelo, maybe. And if some of these other guys continue on the streak, the Rook guy, Mason Rook, he might be a guy that gets a couple heads turned and things like that. But there is not I don't know, man. There's not a lot of guys right now that I watch and go, Okay, yeah, I can watch it like when I was watching Oba and Trick, and Ethan Page and I know Ricky Saints and all them had been elsewhere before, but still, when you looked at what that men's roster was to what it is now, and then even the women's side now, they're having to
Improvise.
build that back up. Yeah.
I also feel that this could hurt some of the NXT because if they're not really strong in the NXT and then they lose because
No, they are Oscar. I'm sorry, Oscar saying he thought the NXT guys are. They are. What my point is, I don't know that they deserve to be right now. There's not that many of them that deserve. It's not Oba, it's not Trick, it's not Sol Ruka. It's not all those guys and gals anymore. It's a bunch of. I mean, Lola Vice, if you want to put her on there, Zarya maybe, Tony D'Angelo, and then if some of these new guys, the Mason Rooks guy, go maybe. But other than that, who on NXT at this point? Again, they've got time because I guess the Cena Classic is going to be probably later on in the year. But I don't know.
I mean, Tavion Heights is okay, but I'm still not sold on him. Tony D'Angelo is good, but he's not to the likes of Trick or Obafemi for them to bring him. I'm thinking about the girls. Who's out there? Like Zarya was one that you mentioned. Nikita Lyons is coming off of a really bad injury.
Izzy Rain might be, she's turned some heads, so we'll see. But again, like today, if the pay-per-view, if they had to do a Saturday night's main event this Saturday, I don't know how many NXT are on it.
Yeah, it was strong. They would have a hard time. And I know Kendall Gray was somebody that they were pushing as well, but a lot of people don't know who she is. I mean, Jada Parker, that would be a good one. But remember, if you think about it, look at the ones that we're naming, the ones that have already kind of been in NXT for a while. Those are the ones that are kind of like, so I guess, I don't know if they're going to start, if this is a way for WWE to try to say, hey, we got to get rid of the old and bring in the new, and whoever gets a reaction, that's who we're going to call up. Maybe that's a strategy that they're using for this whole, John Cena Classic. But at the end of the day, right now, I don't feel that if they decide to do this, because it looks like it's going to be an EPL. So, I'm sorry, a premium live event. So if they have one of those on its own, I don't know if you're going to get the same reaction as the first one when Sol Ruka.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is a Saturday night main event. This is a Saturday night main event. That's what Cena.
And keep
Cena's
in mind,
retirement was a Saturday night's main event. So.
And one of the reasons why that Saturday night main event was a big hit was because John Cena was closing it out with Gunther. So you still had a powerhouse, two powerhouse guys going at it where everybody wanted to see it. Yeah. If you don't have that, what's going to happen now? You feel me? So
and Oscar, I didn't hear them say anything about the AAA guys because technically they said WWE guys, so it's NXT, SmackDown, Raw is kind of the way they said. But again, as it gets closer, do they throw some AAA guys in? And then also me 28. My bad, should have put respect on to the NXT guys. One of my mates on social media just joined the PC. Love to see Rook win it all. I dude. If they let him be him, Mason Rook is gonna be something, man.
He's been taking a lot of heat too. There's a lot of people cracking jokes on that guy, but
yeah, but again, that's because what's funny is they'll say it on social media. I would love them to show up at the PC and say it to Mason Rook's face.
Yeah,
there's a lot of keyboard warriors that's gonna get all tough and this and that, but go say it to his face. If you're man enough or woman enough, go say it to his face.
I mean, the guy can hang. I'm not gonna lie.
See what goes, man. Because that dude, everything I've seen of him, and I've watched a little bit more of some stuff on him, man. That dude, he's a dog, man.
He is good. He's very talented. And for being a big boy, he's good.
He can go.
He looks very, very talented. I have high expectations for him and Lizzie Rain. Those are the two that I kind of, from the new crop of people, that I feel like maybe they have a really good shot at.
I think if they release and let Kendall do her thing, I think she'll be fine. They just haven't let her do her thing. And I don't know if she's injured or what, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. All right, back to the whole thing. AEW, Darby Allin.
Yeah, the whole
will they ruin the roster I'm referring to? Because just wondering.
The situation with Darby Allin is they keep feeding him people, and we'll talk about somebody who's two people are actually making their way over to AEW. Who I think one of them would be a bad matchup for him, but um, look, man, I can tell you this: AEW has so many wrestlers in their roster for just what 4 hours of wrestling that they have on show because they don't do any house shows. I think they could keep doing this. To be honest with you, now they have to be careful because they were gonna stick him against Okada, and then if he beats Okada, if that would have been Okada, like I don't have a problem him beating Takeshita, but beating Okada, that's a problem for me. That hurts your roster. If he starts going against Moxley, goes against Will Ospreay just cleared. I think that's when it's gonna hurt you. And if you're just doing this just to get a pop for Darby Allin and
Yeah,
people,
but then
because a lot of
don't this then don't this kind of feels to me. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's Rocky. It's Mick lining up all the bums so that Rock could stay champion forever. And then when he got to play versus the Clubber Lang, what's going to happen?
yeah, it's gonna
You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like, I mean, again, if he does that and then he finally wrestles somebody upper tier and he loses, does that mean that he was really that good of a champion?
well, a lot of people are saying that he's a good champion already because of how much work he's putting in. All these matches. I mean, look at the match he had with Pac. It was crazy. It was at a golf place.
Yeah. Dude, I love that. That venue is awesome for once in a while. For every that thought it was pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Okay, this is the thing. Okay, and we could jump a little bit into that. There was a couple things that I liked and a couple things I didn't like. I love I love that it holds about 1,600 people, so it's a good venue for AEW because you know how AEW can't sell that many tickets, so that's a good venue for that. It's pretty cool that they're being different, that they're having it in a golf course, and you got to see Darby Allin and Pac duke it out in a golf course, or at least in the golf kind of areas. The entrance was kind of cool. I don't know if you noticed that when they were coming in, people were standing and you could give them high five right at the venue before they had to turn in. So that was pretty cool. My only issue, and this is the only two things I didn't like. Number one, if they had the ring in one area, I don't know if that's because that's the only place they could put the ring. But if you're sitting all the way in the far end, that kind of sucked because you had to bring goggles to go see that. Like, come on, that it looked like if you were sitting all the way in the top for WrestleMania. That's how far you were. I kind of noticed that, and there was people sitting all the way there. And number two, if you really, really like this, I'm sorry, you got to change this from a Collision to probably a Dynamite. Like they should have. What they should have done is they should have put in more. They could put more seats around the ring and just make it a 1 year thing if that's what they want to do. Because they did a lot of people were giving them kudos for it, and just make it a Dynamite and make it a year round thing. That way, people will be more invested. Because it sucked. It sucked that it was on a Saturday, the day of
Yeah,
back.
but they also made it like a not a tribute, a benefit show too. So they're raising money from this, which is why it said they're going to make it an annual event. So there was also like a fundraising part to this show, which is why I think they did it on a Saturday instead of trying to do it on a Wednesday night.
I mean, I like the actual name of it. It was Fairway to Hell, and you had fairways there playing golf,
Yeah.
so that was clever. But again, I going back to the whole Darby situation. Yeah, man, I think at the end of the day, you keep building him up, and he's beating everybody left and right, and then it's gonna be a really, really hard fall for him. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It scares me a little bit, man. I like a fighting champion, but I have to agree with something that you have always said. That's why you have those USA belts. That's why you have the Intercontinental belts. Those are your fighting champions because those are the ones that it won't make you or break you at the end if you lose it on a regular show. Your wrestling your heavyweight belt should have more of a meaning and should be featured in a pay-per-view. That's why you want to buy the pay-per-view, right? Especially since they're still selling it. They don't have it free like WWE kind of has it if you have ESPN, the ESPN Plus thing, where you're paying a monthly subscription for it. Mm-hmm. So if you see Darby Allin fight every single week, then what's the point in a pay-per-view, right? To see him. Yeah. It loses its value, bro.
Yeah,
It loses its
lose
value.
the luster on the belt, especially when he's going 30 minutes.
Yeah,
on a
'cause
Wednesday night. I mean, it's not like they're going, you know, I mean, and again, it's the one thing too where like I remember like the Attitude Era. Vince would put the title on the line, but you knew it was never going to be like a finish. There was going to be something that, although they did do that one night when they put Mankind, he wins it, and that's what changed the thing there. But it's tough, man. It's tough. Like
it is. Eric
I
doesn't
mean,
buy it, bro.
it's hard, man. It's hard too with Darby. I mean, I know he's a crash test dummy, and I know he can take a lot of pain and a lot of punishment and stuff like that. But again, you know, I've told you, man, we've done this like for 4 weeks, Frankie. If you took the champions of WWE and you took the champions of and hell, let's even throw Tony D'Angelo into this. The NXT champion, and you put him, Mike Santana, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Tony D'Angelo, and Darby Allin. One of them not like the others, man.
No, man. No. And the aura has diminished because of the simple fact that he's fighting every week.
Every week, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. That he need, and I think is that how can you get away from that? I think you're too invested in it right now.
Well, now you've gone too far now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't. Only way you can do it is have somebody beat him or have somebody injure him and take him off TV for a while.
Yeah, like really beat the. But the thing is that
Like,
he is
somebody
a
do
fucking
whatever and then
he
boom.
is strong. Like he could take a beating, bro.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's
That's
the
the
hard
thing.
part
It's like,
too. So like you
good.
gotta destroy him in order for him to lose the belt. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, dude, he beat MJF, he beat Ciampa, he beat Pac, he beat
Brody.
Brody King, he beat Kevin Knight, and most likely he's gonna beat Takeshita
Beat
tonight.
Takeshita, yeah.
So
Which was supposed to be Okada.
thank God. That's actually a blessing that Okada could. You know what? Maybe Okada realized and said, "Yo, let me go wrestle over there instead of
I was
having."
like, I got an emergency I got to take care of.
Yeah,
Japan. I'm out of here.
let me just go to Japan, man, because I'm pretty sure he was gonna lose. He was gonna lose to him.
So basically, he did a Stone Cold Steve Austin. He took his ball and went home. He just didn't quit though. He just didn't. He called AEW. He was like, "Hey, I got an emergency." Stone Cold just got on a plane and left. I'm not versing Brock Lesnar on Raw.
No, and that's the best thing that Okada could do, and that's the best thing that Stone Cold Steve Austin did too. So,
Well, he said no. He said he was wrong. He should have done it differently.
yeah, he says that now, but I'm pretty sure that day he was fucking. I'm pretty sure he was happy that he did that day.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. Current releases: Alistair Black, Zelina Vega, New Day. A lot pointing toward them showing up in AEW. I think the New Day path is pretty clear. There's a lot of things going on, but for you, and I guess I'll jump in a little bit on what Alistair Black. Like you had him, you did. It was cool for a little while, and then it just wasn't. And now you bring him in. Now you bring Zelina Vega in. If again reports are legit, the New Day. I mean, there's a lot of matchups you could see with them. That's not the one, but. The Alistair Black, what do you see his path? Because I don't see it being any different than what it was when he left.
I mean,
what are you gonna bring? You're gonna bring him, Buddy, and Brody King back together?
I mean, you could do that, but it would kind of. I mean, it will help Buddy. I don't think he's injured. I think he's fine now. I think it hurts Brody because Brody has done pretty well for himself. But at the end of the day, I think. I'm not too happy with the Alistair Black signing. It looks like it's pretty much set in stone now. And I do agree with the Zelina Vega. I think the women's division needs help, especially since we haven't seen Mercedes Moné, especially since we saw Blake Monroe make her way over there.
Mariah May, man. Mariah
May. Now Blake Monroe make it to the WWE side. Jake Cargo was another one that was there. So this is where I feel like Tony Khan needs to focus a little bit more on the women. Like, dude, they just released Zelina Vega. They just released Kairi Sane. I don't know what's up with Asuka, if she's gonna be
she's semi-retired.
Well, she probably is semi-retired because they probably told her to take a pay cut. That's probably why. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the reasons why she said, you know what, I'm out of here, bro. I'm gonna take my talent over to Japan and work over there, and then just enjoy her time while she's over there. But look, at the end of the day, man, I'm gonna tell you this: they had Nikki Cross is a good one that could have gone on there. Like I said, Zelina, Kairi Zane, you could build that women roster, and the women roster need help, and you could go ahead and push that women's roster even more. You don't need Alistair Black to come back to AEW. I think that's a terrible signing, and you have too much of a roster. Like you have a shit. Where has been Kyle Fletcher? You
Sir.
know, where's Luchasaurus? Where's Mark Briscoe? You know, where is Matt Caster? He's not bad either. You have a lot of these guys that you don't see. Ortiz is still listed on the AEW roster. When was the last time you saw him? Like there's some people on this roster that you never see them wrestle. I didn't even know this, but the big tall guy that they signed, what, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, Satnam Singh, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, he's on Ring of Honor.
I still didn't. Where is he? Like, why?
He's on Ring of Honor. He was at the Highway to Hell or Fairway to Hell show.
Bro, I mean, I know Swerve. I think Swerve is coming back right now because I think what he posted on social media was a work. But you haven't seen him. You haven't seen Scorpio Sky. You haven't seen. I mean, look at all the people I'm mentioning out there. The Outrunners. Where have they been? You know. All of a sudden, the Rascals came, and now the Rascals are disappeared. I haven't seen them anymore. Roosh, where's Roosh? Look at all this talent, and you're shining more talent, dude. And you're not doing any house shows. I think that's the problem. I think he needs to stop signing so many people, and I think that's his tactic. I think that's what Tony fails a lot. He feels like he's gonna gain viewers by going ahead and signing the next shiny apple, and then once he has them, he'll have a little run, and then after a month or two, they'll disappear and you won't see him again. And that's why I feel like this is a terrible signing. I don't mind the New Day, but I hope it doesn't happen. I could understand the New Day and Alistar and Zelina signing because they're gonna get paid, but I don't understand where Tony Khan goes with this. I think he's dropping the ball again.
I do like what Eric said. If Aleister Black's in fact back with AEW, put him in a feud with Brody immediately. At least you got a story there. Brody could blame him for leaving him and that he's better. Or maybe bring in Aleister Black, wanting him back, and Brody against it. Because you could bring back Aleister and Buddy together, and then they're trying to get Brody to rejoin them and have Brody kind of feud with them. At least you have a few weeks of shows there that you could do. And I just think, look, with the New Day, you can put them in tag team matches, and you'll have tag team match after tag team match after a month or two. I don't know what you do with them, but you'll have a good 8 to 10 matches that you could have some classics. As long as everything goes. And then if you want to do Xavier in the singles, you can, and Kofi as well. So I'm not against them. But I the one that does kind of get me, and nothing to do with her, is I just don't know what. It doesn't feel like the women's division is getting the light that they had before, the spotlight they had before. It feels like it's gone. Like I don't even know. I'm trying to think back. Was there even a women's match on Dynamite?
I know that on Collision, it was the tag team, the two girls from the tag team. They were there. They were featured on Collision, which was
I have to look back at Dynamite. I don't.
The Divine Dominion. Those two girls were the
Okay.
ones that were holding it down at the Collision. But I don't. I think on Dynamite, I think I think somebody did come because I think Tekla came in. I think Tekla came in and beat somebody up. I don't remember who,
Yeah,
but
all right. But again, remember there used to be like 2 or 3 women's matches when you had, or at least segments, 2 or 3 segments for the women.
Yes.
Now there's not a whole lot there. Will Ospreay, supposedly he's cleared now for the ring, and look, man, I hope he's 100% healed, man, because again, the neck's nothing to mess with, man, especially with his style of wrestling.
yeah.
So I just whatever, man. I'm glad he's back, though. I am glad he's back, and I look forward to seeing him. I don't know what they're going to do with him because
He's
this
wrestling
whole
tonight.
Darby Allin thing has got me so like I don't know where they're going with the title. Like if All In is their thing, why wouldn't you have Ospreay challenge for the title at All In? Like that would be the draw to me.
100%.
But
And not only would that make the draw, but again, he if as long as he's not, really bad with his neck, obviously.
yeah,
But if he's good, why haven't you put in the belt? I mean, and I know Darby is his main guy, and he's been there a lot longer. But man, you gotta put the belt on Osprey, bro. He deserves it too, man. That guy can hang, man. That guy can
yeah.
hang. So
And he's got the again, if you put Will Ospreay instead of Darby Allin and you put them in a room, AEW moves up, I think, 2 to 3 ranks
all day.
with Will Ospreay as your champ. Women's division has a Tony Storm-sized void. And Eric, you're not lying there, buddy. You're not lying there.
And Mercedes Moné.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that situation is. Like that just, I don't know what's going on with that whole thing.
I don't know. I
It's
don't know
just
why.
like, I mean, like, is she under contract? Is she not under contract? Is she not like?
Look,
How
just
do you not have her making appearances if she's under contract? Like I don't.
he, and here's another thing and I just finished mentioning it to you guys. Like I told you all the time, I feel like AEW just has too big of a roster for the amount of hours that they have. You want to know who they brought out today? They brought out Brian Cage. Where has he been all this time? And then
He was
out of the
injured.
blue-
He was injured. He tore his pectoral.
dude. Still,
But that's
like-
the other thing with the AEW is they don't tell you who's injured or not. They just disappear for a while, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay.
yeah, you don't know if they're released or if they're actually.
DJ tonight, 3:58. Frankie.
Yep.
The last topic I had.
Oh,
hey,
sir.
what's up,
Tonight, what's
Jeff
up?
from Long Island?
What's up
What's
tonight?
going on, sir?
What's up, Jeff?
AEW. We talked last week where they might have to find a new home with Warner Brothers. Apparently, they're suing their Triller, who was Fight TV, for $5 million for unpaid monies for pay-per-views and an AEW Plus subscription that they had on there. Frankie Fresco, what the hell is going on here?
All right, so tell me exactly what is going on here because I didn't
Yeah.
read too much about this. What happened? Who's suing who?
Oh,
Is AEW suing Triller or Triller suing AEW?
AEW is suing Triller.
Okay, and they're suing Triller because they haven't paid any money to AEW. Is that what it is?
Yeah. They're hold on a minute. I'm trying to find the article. I had it up.
All right,
over
hold on. It
on
says
my screen
AEW
here.
has filed a lawsuit against Triller TV and its parent company, Triller Group, alleging the streaming platform owes Tony Khan's wrestling company just under $5 million in unpaid revenue. Wow, what the hell's going on? Now, I mean, damn, this is terrible.
And apparently they've sent like 2 other letters already. Like they've been trying to get this money for a while, and what they did was they only cut them a little bit of the money, and then so now it's turned into this legal battle. But yeah. So and again,
I'm reading a little bit on this.
yeah, it's nothing really. It's just funny. I saw it and I was like, how the hell do you not get paid? But apparently what they did was they've been running like a Ponzi scheme. With the parent company has been taking the money from there and putting it in other parts of the company and not giving it to AEW, but paying out to others with the money they had, I guess thinking that they would recoup the money and be able to give AEW what they owe them. And it hasn't happened. And now it's about $4.98 million. And every month it's a 2% interest that
Ooh.
gets added to it.
So look at this. It said AEW content drove 24% of all Triller Group revenue in 2024. So that means people were tuning in to Triller and were actually buying those pay-per-views. I actually bought a pay-per-view in Triller ones to see the AEW event. It says AEW will do 70%, 75% of the net revenue from domestic pay-per-view sales and 65% of net revenue from international sales. Oh wow! So it was not only local; it was
Yeah, no, you
also
can get it whatever.
outside.
Yeah, and they got a 60% on the TNA subscription. So
Damn, damn. How do you go into business with somebody who hasn't paid you for their gains, for their
I don't
wins?
know. I don't know.
Like I could understand if you because how many shows did they do on Triller? I wonder
I
how many.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, from the time they entered, you could order from Triller, Fight TV. Fight TV is Triller. So I believe they were always on Fight TV for the longest time until recently.
Damn, dude, it's crazy that you would allow it to
I
build
gotta
up to
think.
5 million.
I gotta
Bro.
think they were probably paying them, and then it fell behind. Last year was when it started. That's probably when they went and found somebody new, because this wasn't working out. But yeah, they still owe them about $5 million.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Sad thing about this is that there's a lot of people, a lot of companies that you assume are making buku money and they take forever to pay you back. Because, with all due respect, but I work with a lot of companies when I DJ and they take a while before they pay me, bro. And it's like so frustrating because, you expect them to make, I mean, they're doing great. And then all of a sudden it takes you 3 weeks to pay me, not even that much money. You feel me? And I'm like, wow, bro, like this is bad. So I could understand where
Yeah.
AEW comes
But
in.
also, I guess when they looked at their financials, though, they were taking AEW, the money they were doing it, and putting it into other aspects of their company and not giving AEW their money. So, like,
That's shady.
yeah, yeah.
But only
And then,
but it would have worked if they invested it on the right programming and people were tuning in. The problem was that they put it in the wrong crap because nobody
yeah.
else was like buying Triller. So they just didn't do the right thing. I mean, think about it, Sean. We saw that Spirits went down, right? I think it was back in 2015. Either 2015 or 2019. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on it. But Spirits Airline was the highest and most profitable airline in the United States at that time. And now look, they're bankrupt and they had to shut down. So
Start believing your hype.
it's
Because you got the lowest prices don't mean you can.
I mean the field the whole field thing didn't help them either.
No,
So
it didn't. But also, you
that's
have
just
to.
bad management.
Some people will not pay low prices to be treated like cattle.
Okay. I know we don't want to talk about like stuff like this, but I will say this. There are people that pay that. They provided a service. They were upfront with what they provided you. And it gave an option for the working class not to get raped with the other big head honchos. Sometimes you need your rinky dink, I don't want to call Spirits rinky dink, but your low budget in order to be able to balance
Yes, you
the other
do.
one.
But at the same time, you don't have to make it
Because look at TKO and how they're
as
abusing
as
us now.
No, yeah, no, but what I'm saying though is, yes, I look for a deal on a flight, but that don't mean, okay, now because of that you're going to charge me $35 to bring on a carry-on, or you're going to make your money up somewhere else.
But you
Like,
saw that.
you're not really giving me the discount because you're going to make it up on the other stuff that I have to bring with me.
Yeah, but that's when like the big airlines were probably going to do the same one way or the other. That's where it was trending. So now, like
I
for
get
example,
that. I get that, but again, you can't say that we're going to fly you from this to this and then say, oh, but we're tacking on this, this, and this, and now
they
you're
were
just paying the same price as
But
the other tickets almost.
but they were being upfront with you. They were telling you, hey, look, if you bring this and this is what you're gonna have to pay for. At least they weren't hiding it. They were telling you, hey, look, if you want to pay a carry on, this is gonna be 35, $50. Shady would be if they didn't even tell you anything, and then all of a sudden you get to the airport and then you're like, oh, here you go, here's a $35 fee. Then I could understand because there
But
was
if you sell some for 150 and you charge 35 for a carry on, or 50 for 2 bags, now you're up to 89, 199. And now you got the other ones where you get a bag free, paying $219 or They're not that much more once you add it
Well,
all
not
together.
not.
So,
Well, depends. It depends. I'll give you this example. When I went to Pensacola for my sister's graduation 2 years ago, yeah, I think it's already been 2 years, or it might have been last year. I don't remember. But anyways, when I went over there, I remember I was looking at flights, and Delta and American Airlines were like about $400, and Spirits was the only one that had it for like about $100. And because I had flight miles, I'm through my credit card, I was able to get the flight for $10. So then at the end of the day, I was able to go ahead and pay only the $35. So at the end, I ended up paying $45 to go to Pensacola, and $45 to go to Pensacola, and $35 to come back to Miami. And on top of that, the other airlines were like $300-400. So that's what I'm saying. It depends on where you were going, and at the end of the day, they weren't a bad airline. I mean, they never had any.
Jeff from Long Island says, my wife Sharon is a corporate travel agent. She would never book Spirit Airlines or Frontier Airlines. Very unreliable.
Okay, well, that's your wife, Jeff, but I'll give you a perfect example.
Corporate travel agent.
I went
Corporate travel agent, not Frankie Fresco, the civilian booking his own flight.
Well, you can't be a corporate travel agent and book one of those flights because you probably going there for business, and you have to be reliable in order to get there.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure if you're working for a company, they're probably going to reimburse you back.
We're no longer in AEW talk.
But
it does sound like AEW talk because there's struggles. But go ahead.
But I will say this. I will give you this. When you go, and I did go on Frontier, and when I went to go see the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs a couple of years ago, I took Frontier, and they were good. They didn't give me any issues. My flight never got canceled. It never got delayed. I never experienced bad. So that's why I'm not gonna knock on those airlines.
That's because you're Frankie Fresco, but you're not like the rest of us, man.
Well, it's not only that. You prepare yourself. Like, if I'm gonna go see, if I'm gonna,
this is gonna be the drizzling shits. Oh my God, this isn't the drizzling shits. Great.
the issue for me, the thing is, I prepare myself. If I know I'm gonna go for the Dolphins game, I make sure that I give myself at least an extra day, because if my flight gets delayed or something like that, I probably won't make it on that Monday. I'll make it on Tuesday, but the game's on Wednesday. That's kind of like the way I think about it. So, but that's just me.
And No Doubt must be very bored tonight. He apparently said, did you guys know the guiding light is older than television? Karoon, welcome in, sir. He heard a Boeing 747, a Boeing Spirit Airlines on eBay for $35.
I think we're getting.
It even comes with passengers beating the shit out of each other for the last window seat.
I think we're getting more comments on the airline topic than the wrestling of AEW.
We woke up the crowd after talking AEW.
Yeah, we definitely. Everybody wants to go ahead and start talking about the airline. I mean, look, man. I don't know about you guys, but it's a good way to balance from the. I try to look at. I wanted to go visit my sister. My sister, you guys know now. My sister lives in Destin, Florida, so I want to go visit her. You know how much is a flight to go to Destin, Florida? $800. I was like, $800?
Yeah, because I think the airport's about like 2 buildings.
I googled to go to Pensacola, which at this time of year I went to go see my sister for graduation last year. Yeah, she graduated last year because my goddaughter came last year. So last year, and I bought it for $100, $110, with the $100 credit, $10 right there through Spirits. This time I went to Pensacola to go see. None of the flights were cheaper than $600. So I was like, man, even going to Pensacola is expensive. And what the hell's in Pensacola? Nothing. So I'm like, bro.
What are you talking about? That's the home of Roman Reigns and the bloodline. I mean, my goodness. What are you talking about? You're on the Squared Circle Digest talking about what's in Pensacola?
Nothing. There's absolutely nothing in Pensacola.
Sorry, Roman. I'm sorry.
There's nothing. There's nothing that Roman, he's never there anyways. Just like he's not always there on Monday night.
So he's not home and he's not wrestling. Where is Roman Reigns? Where in the world is Roman Reigns?
He's enjoying life.
That's going to be our next thing. We're going to put a big picture of a whole bunch of people and put where in the world is Roman Reigns.
Are you trying to compare Roman Reigns to Carmen Sandiego? Please.
Yes. Or Waldo.
Oh, Waldo.
Where's Waldo?
That's a good point. Yeah. But we definitely diverted from wrestling. Sorry.
We did, man. Frankie, let them know where they can get you, man. I appreciate your time today.
Hey, I appreciate your time, sir. Frankie Fresco, Fresco Music, all social media platforms. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. Hey, and there's another thing. I just noticed this too.
What's
Guys,
this?
if you guys can, when you go on there, there is a little thing that says, and I believe Sean has it. Let me see if Sean has it. Maybe we don't have it. What is it? Oh man, I don't think we have it. Or maybe it is. Yes, it does. It does come afterwards. That's what it is. So after the show is over, if you go on the video, right? And you click on, let's say, an old one, yeah, and you scroll where it says comments, live chat replay, ask. There's one that says like hype, and if you put hype, it helps with the algorithms.
Oh,
I don't know
hype
if
us, baby. Hype it.
So I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I just noticed that as well. So if you go to like let's say a previous video of us and you say, hey, I want to go ahead and get the hype it. If you see it, you probably see it on Sean's more than mine because he has more followers than I do. But if you do, click on it and definitely it helps with the algorithm. It allows people to go in and it'll pop up into more people's algorithms. So definitely if you get a chance, do that as well.
And Oscar, thank you, my man. Appreciate you. You can follow me at SS_Sports Talk. I am at Stanley Media House everywhere else. Stanley Media House Network on YouTube. Don't forget to jump over to the Frankie Fresco YouTube channel as well. Hit those subscribe buttons. Hype us up, baby. And also set the notifications. We're here every Wednesday. Talking Racing Now will be on Thursdays. It's South Florida Sports Unfiltered on Fridays on the Stanley Media House YouTube channel. Frankie Fresco, any parting words, sir?
Yeah. RIP to the Gingerbread Man. He was very, very excited. WWE, if you could drop a shirt with the Gingerbread DJing, I will buy it.
Was he wearing the lemon pepper steppers?
The Gingerbread Man?
No.
Oh.
Trick.
He always is, wasn't he? Isn't he always wearing it?
I believe so, man. But did you see the Gingerbread Man rise up from the dead?
I didn't need to bring the Gingerbread Man. I would have not been
Danhausen left with the gingerbread outfit.
Exactly what
I thought it was going to be a giant gingerbread man.
Yes,
coming out.
That dude. I would not have been criticized. That match could have gone a whole hour like AEW likes to do. Gingerbread Man and Danhausen, you can't top that. That's just me though. But the Gingerbread Man for me, they need to bring it back. Please bring the Gingerbread Man back.
All right, Oscar, thank you. No doubt, Karoon, Jeff from Long Island, Eric as always, DJ Tonight on there as well. Me. Did I say three me's? 3 me's, 28. Thank you, sir, ma'am, whichever one. Let's see who else we got. To Papa, Adrian was in as well.
It's me, Papa. Oh my gosh.
What?
It's me, Papa, right? It's your dad. When you say
it is.
When you say to Papa, that means
that's
your
right.
dad.
Your dad. That's right. I'm sorry, me, Papa.
There you go.
Damn it. And you're right. Trick does love the kids. And me, 28. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah,
but in the words of the great Gordon Soley, well, make sure you're back next week on Wednesday. And that's not the words from Gordon Soley, by the way. The words from Gordon Soley are so long from the sun, shine, state.
That's what's